It's no longer a 4-team race for the semi-finals at this ICC Cricket World Cup. If you thought South Africa, India, New Zealand and Australia were the teams getting into the semis, well, hang on. Got to recalibrate because, as I've been saying for the last couple of days, Pakistan are back in the hunt. Are you wondering how they are? Well, let's start by telling you that South Africa have thrashed New Zealand by 190 runs in Pune. Could have been much more. That margin could have been above 200. But then New Zealand got some crucial runs in the end. The scorecard is behind me. Glenn Phillips smashing 60 at the end. But a very sorry scorecard for New Zealand, especially considering they won the toss and they opted to bowl first against this South Africa team, which genuinely loves batting first. And you saw right at the top, 100 again for Quinton de Kock, his 4th of this tournament. 100 again for Rassie van der Dusen. He's been getting starts, but he's not being able to convert them. Well, he has converted today. And I did tell Dav Whatmore, who's here with me, that Miller and Klaasen are destroyers, and that's what Miller did at the end. His 53 took South Africa past 350. So, Dav Whatmore here in the studio with me, Sri Lanka's 1996 World Cup winning coach. Seen a lot of this World Cup with us. Are you surprised by the margin of victory? Somebody's got to win or lose. 2 teams, second and third. But a team winning by 190 runs, especially when they're so close on that points table?
Very sad for New Zealand. Yes, I am surprised. The fact that they won the toss and they were confident that we're going to chase. You guys, I know you're very good batting first, but we're going to let you bat first anyway because we think we can get 1 run more than you. Boy, oh boy, well, look at the difference. A lot of difference between them today, and that was it turned out to be a bad decision.
But Dav, hang on. You have people who are analysing games. You have people who are watching games. England did the same thing against South Africa. They won the toss, asked them to bat first. They got 399. Okay? This South Africa team struggled to chase down 260, 270 odd against Pakistan. Just about got there. And you and I have been saying that they shouldn't have got there because Pakistan should have won this game. Please explain to me, why do you win the toss against a team which is known to be mentally not up there like, say, in Australia or India at the moment? Why do you give them first strike when they're under no pressure at all?
But that's right. I mean, obviously the statistics will tell you that, and I'm very confident that they would know that as well. But it's 2 ways of looking at it. One is, hey, we're going to do what is our strength. I know that they would prefer to bat first, so why make a decision based on what they want to do, rather than what we would prefer to do? That's the 2 ways of thinking on it. But, when it becomes very obvious that a team is, finds it a lot harder when you have to bat second and chase a target, why don't you exploit that,
No, but see, if you win the toss and you're asking the team to bat, then you do as much as possible to restrict them to something like under 290, which is then still right. You believe you can chase it down. But right. What I can't get my head round is New Zealand did the same thing in Dharamshala against Australia, and the Aussies got 388. So that should have told them that your bowlers are getting some stick. So and the batters did get runs there, so just bat first.
Well, they just lost by 5 runs as well.
Yeah, it's small ground.
Small ground, yeah, but they were expecting, they were expecting to do a much better job than, with the bat. I know that they were a little bit, unlucky with Henry leaving the field with another injury, and they've got a few injuries now, and that really has knocked their confidence. I would think they're going to have to do a quick repair job before the next game in Bangalore. So You know, it's been a bad night all round for them, with confidence, losing, and also another injury or two.
And are they now in danger of missing out on a spot in the semis? I've been saying it for a while. Pakistan looked down and out. But as things stand, let's bring up New Zealand's remaining matches in this tournament. Let's bring that up. And after that, we'll talk about the points table and why it becomes a crucial game. So New Zealand have 2 games left now. The next game is Pakistan. And after that, they've got Sri Lanka. At the moment, they've lost 3 on the bounce. And they've got Pakistan. If Pakistan end up winning that game, then Pakistan go to 8.
Well, that's right.
Same as New Zealand.
That's right.
And then it's a shootout. So New Zealand plays Sri Lanka, Pakistan play England, whose confidence is already shot. Then it's a shootout. It's a shootout again, just like the 2019 World Cup, where both teams finished 4th and 5th. Both had 11 points. New Zealand edged ahead on net run rate.
What you're portraying is what possibly could happen, and it's mouth-watering. I mean, it is very interesting to see the probability of that recurring, and you know, that's good. It'll prompt good discussion with a lot of people when they look at and they project these fixtures and the possibility of which side wins, which side loses. But what it's done today is that it's made it more interesting.
It's opened up the World Cup. It was getting boring. Let's be fair. It was getting boring.
Top
India,
4.
South Africa playing absolutely brilliant. And then Australia started off badly, then sort of picked up pace. New Zealand won 4 on the bounce. Now they've lost 3.
New Zealand have been
interesting.
Not New Zealand. South Africa really have been handed on a plate too, haven't they? So they've yet to be really tested by.
That's not their fault.
No, it's not their fault.
They've played well.
Absolutely, you can only do what you can do, right?
And teams have been guilty in that sense of giving it to them on that plate.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's the problem. Let's see what happens at the game against India, which is up next.
Yeah, I'd love to see them, bat second against a really good pace attack. This guy, Jansen, keeps getting wickets under lights bowling first, opening the bowling in the
under
first.
Lights,
yeah, and he's a wonderful player. But when they bowl in the morning, it's slightly different.
Okay, let's look at the New Zealand chase in a bit more detail. We'll bring up New Zealand's innings progression. Doesn't make for good reading.
No.
How can it? When you sort of losing by 190 runs. But what South Africa have is a fantastic pace bowling unit. And when they have runs on the board, they have license to attack. And they're relentless, And some of New Zealand had to go for the runs, obviously. That contributed. But some of those balls, you're wondering, is it the same pitch where they batted? The ball zipping around, extra bounce, and that also helps that tall bowlers, stronger bowlers perhaps.
Yes, and when they start bowling in the second innings, it's usually a big total, and that helps. I'm contrasting that to India's bowling in the second innings to England.
230.
Not many.
Yeah.
But they got in there and they won it pretty easily in the end. So it makes a little difference when you've got a big total to bowl against. A little bit of pressure off, but you've still got to go, full bore to get those wickets. And that's what they're doing, and I agree. They got a very good pace bowling attack. And when the conditions suit the slower bowler, then they've got a nice little left arm tweaker waiting to come in to
Maharaj got 4 today.
Yeah, Maharaj got, but they were throwing the bat as well, good effort. He's a good bowler, yep. But it's not your usual, and it's still a statistic, I tell you, still goes down as wickets, Of
course, look at Zampa. Suddenly he got a 4-4 and you didn't like the way he bowled, he's now leading.
He was lucky to get 2 of those wickets. And then
that was against South Africa, that game, when they were getting trammed.
Yeah, and then then he got another 4 on the back of that because confidence rose a bit.
Yeah. But just looking at the way they collapsed, they lost their first wicket, Devon Conway for 8. Then Ravindra, who's sort of been there, fined. He tried to take on the short pitch bowling, and that was against Jansen again, who's been very impressive. We'll talk about him. And then it just collapsed, right? Will Young falling in the 10th, 11th over, Latham going soon, and once Mitchell went, it was a matter of just how much more could
the graph went the other way.
Yeah.
Usually you got to go up as each phase comes and goes. Your run rate increases. So
was the approach wrong? Or they had to go?
No, not really. I think they had to resist that new ball. Surely they would know that. And there was some good bowling. They're good players. They're good bowlers.
You're talking of players like Lungi Ngidi, Kagiso Rabada, and Jansen who's sort of fine. Okay, we've got this. We've got New Zealand's innings progression. But once we are done with this, let's look at South Africa's as well. That will show us a good contrast.
Huge contrast.
So the first 10, they've got 51. Then it starts to go off, right? I mean, it just goes. Let's get up. Let's remember this. And let's get South Africa's innings progression up, please. Because that will perhaps give us a better idea of how the South Africans went about it. Because they weren't flying off the handle, were they, in the first 10?
No.
They got 45 to 50 there as well. And they lost Bavuma. I think it was 45 to 50 is what...
It was...
You've got that?
Yeah, I have.
It's coming up on the screens.
It was 43 for 1.
43 in the first 10.
Yeah.
Okay, let's leave this on. So South Africa got 43 in the first 10.
For 1 run.
For 1 wicket.
I mean, for 1 wicket,
okay. And New Zealand have 51 for 2. Then 11 to 20.
51 for none.
Okay, in 11 to 20.
Yeah.
Then
81 for none.
So you aren't losing wickets.
Sorry, 61 for none.
So you aren't losing wickets. That gives you the freedom to suddenly accelerate.
Yeah.
So when you look at this, again I'm coming back to that New Zealand approach.
Yeah.
They've lost too many wickets early, and we've seen in this World Cup when that happens, then you're not giving the middle order a chance. They're already under pressure.
Yeah.
But you've got to build, don't you?
You do, and they had some good bowling as well. So, but then a couple of good deliveries also got wickets, and all of a sudden that mountain is just too high to scale. And so the heart goes and the wickets just keep tumbling, and before you know it, it's a domino effect, and they're not going to win it. Okay, we got to play Pakistan next. That's going to be the crunch game. Let's put all our energies there. That's what it looked like. They look like they're tired. They look like they just wanted the game to end. And now they got another injury crisis as well. So
with Henry.
Hamstring, so that's going to take a little bit of time, I would have thought. So they should be seriously considering this boy Jamieson coming back in, from New Zealand. Get him in there quick, because he's not a bad all-rounder.
Okay, there's something else which I've noticed, and if you can bring up New Zealand's record so far at this ICC World Cup. If you can find that graphic, then can you just bring that up, please? Because New Zealand's record so far. They started out beating England. We all were here, the 5th of October. We said, wow, great performance. Suddenly, you change your mind. They weren't in your top 4. You said, no, this is a performance that puts them in my top 4 now. Then they win 4 on the bounce. But this is where I got to bring this up. Already, we've now realized that England weren't the England which won the World Cup. They were pretty awful. They have been pretty awful in this World Cup.
But they got progressively worse. They weren't the worst first game.
Okay, New Zealand helped them get there, but New Zealand, okay. Then the Netherlands, okay, that's a game they should have won.
Yeah.
Bangladesh, who've been absolutely awful. And Afghanistan, okay, interesting win. They'd won, but New Zealand a stronger team. But then this is the problem here. We're going to add one more here, but then India, Australia and South Africa. My point is, were we guilty of talking up New Zealand based on the first 4? They aren't the greatest. The actual big test for them in this World Cup was this middle phase. India, Australia, South Africa and Pakistan to follow.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we're a bit guilty.
Is that worrying now? Is that worrying for you looking at this now, that the big teams, apart from the one team which was big but sort of has, so now we know in hindsight they've...
Yeah, but now they're going back. Now they're going back to other teams who they should be beating. So you can look at it that way too. I mean, the teams they lost to was pretty close, weren't they? They were very competitive against India, and they were very competitive against Australia, who, after handing them the advantage of batting first. So, look, I'm not trying to make up an argument that they're better than what they are. I'm just trying to paint a picture that they're still a good team. This is the first time they've got beaten by a big margin. South Africa got beaten by a minnow, which perhaps is a blip on the horizon. But this team, New Zealand, they are fighters. But today they never showed it.
But, okay, agree with all of that. Hang on. But now they've lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And they've got an absolute shellacking over here.
Pakistan
How does this affect them? But for Pakistan, it's different. You know that you have to wait for them to hit rock bottom before they start bouncing back.
But they've lost to good teams, though, haven't they?
New Zealand. I agree, they have.
Right.
But on the back of this big one, how did they sort of regain that focus?
Well, that's right.
Heading into that Pakistan game, which now becomes a must-win.
That's right, and we're all looking forward to that. I agree. You know, that's their challenge. Their challenge now is to, to repair, regroup, and come fresh as possible to win the game. If you win that game, they're pretty much okay, I would have thought, So that's what it is. I mean, yes, the trend is trending the wrong way for them, but I think let's look at it objectively. I would, if I was them. You played 2 good teams. This one is a bad one. This is a bad loss. You need a little kick, a little whack. But never mind, boys. You're not out of it. You're very much in it. You've got to get yourself up for the next game.
Do we have the points table with us? Do we have our points table already? Do we have an updated points table with us? Okay, we're just checking if we have an updated points table. And until we get there, because I want to do this Pakistan talk once we have that, let's look at how South Africa sort of managed to pull off a big win. Again, the batters. We saw the innings progression. Let's look at the South African batters. Quinton de Kock. Why is he retiring? 545 runs in this tournament. Leading run scorer by a mile now. Got 130 odd. The gap between him and David Warner. And scoring hundreds for fun. He's got 4 now.
He's not retiring because... he's
getting old. He's retiring because he doesn't want the politics.
Well, not the politics, and also time away from family. He's got a young family now. I noticed the little kid. Maybe they want to add to the family, and that's mainly the reason why he's retiring. He'll continue to play T20, of course, in the different leagues. Financially, I would have thought he's really comfortable. But seriously, if I was the South African Cricket Board, I'd be trying my level best to see whether he can just
wrap him in cotton wool,
extend a little bit more.
I mean, now they're saying he's played the T20 next year. There was talk that maybe he won't even play that. Let's bring up the top run scorers in this tournament. If we have that ready, I do think we have that one ready. There you have it. Quinton de Kock, 545. He's 140 ahead of Rachin Ravindra, who didn't get too many today. But even when I look at this, I mean, that's 415 for a rookie. No one knew. That's already a great World Cup for young Rachin Ravindra. And Markram didn't get to add to his numbers much today. They held him back, promoted Miller up the order. Miller got a 53 because I think he was due. He's not getting too much time to bat with everyone up there sort of scoring all those big runs for South Africa.
That's right. Same with Klaasen. So both of those guys are just putting little icing on the cake. And doing a good job doing it, but they just haven't had the time to build a substantial amount of runs.
Okay, let's look at Rassie van der Dusen. Can we bring up his numbers? Because ultimately, at the end, he top scored. But
a good effort.
He's been in good nick. He's just not been able to convert those stuff. And to be fair, in that top 6, when all are scoring, somebody's got to miss out. But the way he went from being sublime to being brutal at the end.
He's a bit of a rock, really, when you look at it. He coming in at number 3. You could be in the first over. You could be in at any time.
Especially when Bavuma's playing.
Yeah. So he's strong. He's a strong cricketer. He's a very physical type. You're very difficult to get the ball past him. So he'll take a little bit of time, but gee, he can accelerate and make up for any sluggishness early in his innings. He can make it up more than double that later. And look at it today, 133 in only 118 balls. So he's done a terrific job, and he's been fairly consistent without converting in other games.
Okay, and what that also does, I do hope we have a graphics which talks about this team and where's it gone? Yeah. which talks about South Africa in the last 10 overs of a match at this ODI World Cup. Do we have that already? Ready?
They have.
That makes some interesting numbers, because I looked at those numbers, and I think in every other game they've got a minimum of 100 runs, barring one where they lost wickets in a heap against South Africa. I can say Australia, I beg your pardon. But it's 100, at least 90, 140. The last 10 overs, we have it, So this is it. They scored 137 against Sri Lanka. Everyone scored runs in that game here in Delhi. Australia 79. We're not looking at the games they were batting second. Against England, 143. Against Bangladesh, again 14. And today, 120.
What would have been good with that set of figures, Diggy, was how many wickets down at the 41st over. I think you'll find not many.
Either 2 or 3.
There you go. So therefore, when you've only got, when the opposition have only got you down 2 or 3 down, your set batsmen are there, and they got some specialists who can, muscle it big time.
But that also is Klaasen and Miller. But then you have Markram, who doesn't look like the executioner, but he's playing proper cricketing shots and going at 120, 130.
In that game. But the game I saw the other day, he was backing away and doing this. He was a little scared. When it gets tough, I'd like to see a lot more of him before you can say he's another Klusener, you know. But potential is absolutely there. And on that particular innings, he did whack it at the one caddy, as you remember. But there was another game. It was,
it happens.
But
that top 6, let's compare it. That's the best top 6 in this tournament, perhaps even better than India. Because you look at it, of all of those guys who've got runs, okay, barring Miller, who's not, to be fair, not got the opportunity that much. But you look at India, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli have got runs. But then there's been timely sort of a 50 from a Shreyas Iyer, a 50 somewhere from an Shubman Gill, Surya Kumar gets a 49. But consistently what the South African batters have done.
India's won batting first, batting second.
Batting second.
Batting second. They batted first as well, though, to win, right?
One game.
India? England, right?
England. That's it, just one.
Yeah, but they still won batting first. This team has batted twice chasing.
They've been a bit shaky.
One lost against Netherlands, and the other one, which should have been...
They should have lost that game, I'm being very honest.
Yeah, so therefore, what I'm saying is let's judge them over a little bit more time to see how they
How much more time? 7 matches gone, 2 matches remaining.
Let's see.
They're going to win the World Cup, right? That's what you're going to judge them on. Who wins the World Cup? Okay. But they're looking pretty good.
They are. I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying
you're
they're
not convinced.
No. I think they're a very strong team. They've got a good battery apiece. They've got good spinners. They've got good batsmen. But I'd like to see them tested a little bit more chasing. That's against good team. That's what I'd like to see.
It's not their fault, England and...
I didn't say I never said that.
Win the toss and tell them, it's okay, we know you're not very good at chasing. Go and bat first.
That's not what I said.
I'm saying, just I don't understand those decisions. I haven't played cricket at any level, but I know that there's something there. Let's put them in. That's what England did, didn't they? They wanted to see if they can push India into a corner, and they did. And the batting was abysmal. That's why they lost by 100 runs. Okay, since we are talking about South Africa, let's bring up their history at this ODI World Cup. There's a reason why we're sort of getting towards a certain angle to the conversation. And that's what you want to, when you say, I want to see them tested. Is it because of that record? They've never reached a World Cup final.
Not just on that record, but what I'm seeing in this 2023.
But you're also carrying some sort of a baggage, right? Because I told you this. When I spoke to Kagiso Rabada ahead of the World Cup, he said, we're coming in under the radar and we want to get rid of the stack of chokers. But every time they get to the business end, something happens. Look at this. 96, they were the best team at the World Cup, with all due respect to your Sri Lankan team. And it looked like it was going to be a Sri Lanka and a South Africa final. Then one great innings from Brian Lara and they were home. 1999, again, the run out came down. They had an opportunity to knock Australia out. They couldn't. And then it came back to bite them. Again, you were involved in this game here, 2003.
Yep.
Calculations wrong.
That very game.
2007, to be fair, they were beaten by Australia, who were a much better team back then. That was that game, right? Australia, South Africa.
Yes.
And you guys played?
No.
Sri Lanka played whom? They played...
In 2007?
They played the final.
I was with Bangladesh.
Correct, but Sri Lanka played the final, didn't they?
Against Australia and West Indies.
Correct. But Sri Lanka... It was an Australia-South Africa semi-final. Who did Sri Lanka beat? I'm not sure.
Kenya, wasn't it?
No,
An easy
2007.
team.
New Zealand.
New Zealand, okay.
Okay. Again, 2011, Ross Taylor got 100 in Sri Lanka, knocked them out. 2015 was perhaps the only time they came very, very close to winning a game, a big game. And they were really poor in 2019. But that's why, you put them under pressure. See how they react. That's what you always say?
Didn't they not play Australia in the final?
Which year? They never reached the final. They played Australia in the semi-final.
New Zealand. Yeah, they got knocked off in the semi. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Let's look at because we're talking about Quinton de Kock. Let's look at a lovely stat he's part of. It's the most centuries by a player at a World Cup. That record was earlier in the name of a certain Kumara Sangakkara, class player, 2015 World Cup, 4 centuries. Rohit Sharma then made it 5. With the way Quinton de Kock is going, he could equal that record. And no one's coming close anymore in this World Cup, right? I mean, I don't think anybody else has got more than 200s.
He's got potentially another 4 games.
4 games.
So he could easily surpass 5. The way he's going.
Yeah.
It's a challenge for him. But he looks more than focused to keep going in the way he is. So, good chance, I tell you, with the wickets the way they are, and the way captains are winning the toss and allowing him to bat first on wickets. Good chance.
Okay, let's bring up the points table. I'm told we have the points table. They've looked at all the numbers, and there it is. And my colleague Anas Malik has texted me certain permutations and combinations which Dav Whatmore may not like.
Good.
South Africa, back again at the top. India go up top if they win tomorrow. Australia now 3rd. New Zealand slipped down to 4th. Pakistan are 6th. 6 points, 2 behind New Zealand. And these two teams play each other. When you look at this, then if there's one semi-final spot opening up, it's here. It's New Zealand's spot. Do you agree?
Agree.
Excuse me.
If.
Right? And Pakistan are playing them next. Suddenly it's opened up for Pakistan, hasn't it? This window of
I'm
opportunity.
interested to know what's this...
Anas?
Yeah.
Okay. Anas Malik has sent this in. It's probably come through his friends in the Pakistan team. So they have to win both games, starting with the game against New Zealand. And Pakistan need to win by approximately 83 runs or chase down the target in approximately 35 overs if they want to go ahead of New Zealand in that particular game. But there's one more game after that, which is New Zealand against Sri Lanka, Pakistan against England, and that will again change it. We're going to have an interesting last 2 matches at least.
Well, that's nothing different to what I knew.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But that's interesting, right?
Yeah, very interesting. That's what
Pakistan
it's done.
in the game.
That's what it's done. Yeah, they not just win; they got to win well.
Can they do it? Can Pakistan beat
Anything's
them?
possible. Absolutely. They're playing a day game, as you know, at Bangalore, Chinnaswamy, where historically that's pretty good for batting. Big scores, short boundaries, fast outfield, and it's a ground. Being a day game, you can chase, you can win batting first, get a big score.
Who's under more pressure now, Pakistan or New Zealand?
I think New Zealand, but it's up to them now. That's the challenge. They've got to regroup and come back and just show them who's boss. if they're serious about their cricket and wanting to play in the semi-final.
And for Pakistan, they've reached a situation which makes them dangerous, nothing to lose. You've coached them. Is that where they are at their most dangerous? When they've sort of been hammered by the Pakistan press, people telling them, oh, you've been a disgrace. You know how brutal they can be.
Yeah, there are most teams, I think, when they're backed into a corner, they've got nothing to lose, go for it. But yeah, certainly Pakistan, they've shown that they can, bounce back from that predicament. It just all points to another brilliant game.
Okay, it's interesting last week or so coming up in this ICC World Cup. Time to get your questions, your comments. The first one we just mentioned, but Hiten asks, have New Zealand lost their grip in the race for the semis? Still 2 points ahead of Pakistan.
Just loosening a little bit.
Just loosening a bit. Okay, Hiten. He's leaving that one outside.
They've got to get it more gripper. They've got a bit more gripper on that hand so they can...
Okay.
Yeah.
How can New Zealand cope up with the pressure, asks Akshat, with Pakistan coming up next? What would you do?
How can they cope up?
With the pressure of the situation they find themselves in, knowing that with Pakistan, if they lose, then it's a problem. If they win, then the race is over.
Yeah, I think they just approach it like another game,
Can they do that?
Everybody knows the importance. I'd be going back to look at who you played. Look who you lost against. You lost against some good teams. This one was a shocker. But apart from that, Pakistan have lost 4 in a row. You guys have lost, 3 now? 2 by fairly close. You're not a bad team. And at least, England say the same thing. We're not a bad team, but they keep losing. This team here is also not a bad team, but they're winning as well, except the last 2. Oh, not this one. This one, it's a given, really bad. But that's their challenge,
But we've seen New Zealand teams in the past. They sort of have something, that inner steel in them, don't they? They do have it, right? And it's sort of part of the DNA. They're always there contending. When's the last time New Zealand didn't make...
Punching above their weight?
When's the last time they didn't make a big tournament final or a top 4 or they're not in the race? I don't remember. They're always contending.
So now you're building an argument for them.
No, I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
You compare that to this mercurial Pakistan team, which you don't know which Pakistan turns up. The good Pakistan turns up, you never know.
I'm not sure.
But you'd always back a team which is more solid against a team like...
I'm not sure you can call them mercurial, can you? This team, this Pakistan team.
So you call them what, bad?
No, but it's not mercurial. There's got to be something in the middle, surely.
They're either good or they're bad. Okay? We agree on that? They're either good or they're bad.
Everyone's either good or bad, But the thing is that I just feel that, if they're going to win, then they're going to have to play out of their skins.
Okay. Yeah. And let's see if they can.
And we're all looking
they've been handed a hiding. Let's see if they can play out of their skins.
Yeah,
nice wordplay.
Yeah, everyone will be looking forward to this game. That's for sure.
Okay, but let's look at the other one then. Because the next game for South Africa is India. That's a good game to look forward to. Maya asks, will it be the most interesting contest of the World Cup? That game coming up.
Well, you wouldn't want to show too much of your hand, do you? You're both going to play off, in the semis.
No, the only place India and South Africa will probably meet now is the final, and the way things stand. They're 1 and 2. As things stand, there's a big gap now.
What I mean is they're in the semi-final. They're both going to be playing in the semi-final.
It's over. It's just they're not declaring it, but South Africa through. So India.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you asking? Who should win?
No. The question from Maya is it going to be the most interesting contest of the World Cups, the remaining games? India, South Africa. Would teams not want, as you said, not show their hand?
Yeah, it's not going to carry.
Or if I could give a second argument, or show them what you've got. Put them under pressure, considering when we're playing the final, they'll remember.
Well, that's not the final. All right, the final's a little bit...
Does it matter if you've lost badly in the league phase and you play the same team in the final?
It's a state of mind. It's a state of mind. I know when I was at Sri Lanka, we made the final. We're playing a dead rubber. And my attitude was, let's play some of these reserves, see how you go, because it's not the final. The other way of thinking is, no, we have to continue our winning ways. That's fine, but it's not the final, you know. So it's a state of mind. It really is a state of mind.
Okay. That's why it's a one-off game. It's the final.
Yeah. What matters is how you feel, not about what others think.
Okay. Vinita has a question. She's asking, how much do India need to worry about South Africa if they're to win this World Cup?
Well, surely.
Do India need to worry more about South Africa or Australia?
No, look, they worry about anybody they're playing against, don't they? If you ask India, what will they say? Oh, no, we're not worried about Australia, we're worried about South Africa. You worry about every team you play for, and it's people of the public that would be asking those questions, and quite right. But the answer is, you know, if I was involved in any of these teams, strong teams, you worry about anybody.
I'll tell you what the answer of the Indian team would be, since I've been to a few press conferences. We're not worrying about what's out there. We only focus on the game tomorrow. That's all that matters. We'll see when it comes to that game. So for them, all that matters is beating Sri Lanka
Same
tomorrow.
thing, yeah.
Okay. Amit asks, I'm not sure you're a wine person, I'm sure, but he asks, with De Kock on fire, is he aging like fine wine?
I am a wine person.
Okay.
I like a good red.
Okay.
Pinot Noir.
Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't go down that road.
Not the cab sale. That's a little bit too heavy. Okay. Pinot Noir, really nice. Now, what was the question? Are they becoming like a red wine?
Is De Kock aging like fine wine?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
he's aging like fine wine. What would you call Rohit Sharma's a bit years ahead of him?
Well, he's probably a vintage.
25-year-old.
Vintage.
25-year-old single malt.
No. You're liking it to wine, right?
Yeah.
It's more like a vintage red. Yeah.
Okay, Lucy has a question. Does South Africa have one of the best bowling attacks at this World Cup despite their batting taking the spotlight?
Well, maybe to some, but for me, they're very good in both. Extremely good in both. So,
the two best attacks so far, India and South Africa, without a doubt?
Yes, surely. They both strike, with the new ball. They both keep it tight. It's hotting up.
Yeah? Our stats friends have joined the debate. Lakshay, South Africa's last win against New Zealand in the ODI World Cup was in 1999. You know that?
Last win in the world, what? New Zealand's win.
No, South Africa's last win over
New Zealand.
The Kiwis.
Yeah, that's right.
99.
That's right, because it was
it's the first time they've beaten them
in 5 or 6 encounters. Yeah, that's right.
How big? We're hearing Kane Williamson is ready to come back. Will that be something lifts New Zealand out of this thing?
I think it might. He's captain extraordinaire, and what a wonderful player. Surely it would be a big fillip for them when he comes back. They'll have to rejig that batting order a little bit, like they did when he returned. And he returned in a big way too, didn't he? He got an 80 and retired hurt.
78.
No, he's very much required in that team.
Yeah. Okay.
He is New Zealand.
Veshak is looking ahead. What if Hardik Pandya cannot come back into the Indian team till the semis? What would be the starting 11 of Team India, as Surya's consistency in ODIs is not good?
What?
I don't understand that question. He said Surya Kumar
he's
is
starting
not
to come. Yeah, he's all right. He's starting to come good. It all depends if they're a little worried about not having enough batting depth. When you're playing a really strong bowling team like South Africa, maybe they may want to play Shardul, and take a punt that he'll bowl. But you've got to bowl 10 overs without Hardik. Unless they can find somebody in that top.
Shubman Gill is turning his arm. Virat Kohli is turning his arm over.
I can't see it change. I think what they've got is good enough. They got 5 bowlers and they're doing the job.
Okay, Mohini's got a question. What is the if the game was tomorrow, with what strategy and mindset should India come to overcome South Africa? What should be the Indian mindset heading into a game against South Africa at the Eden Gardens?
Very positive. Win the toss and you bat, which they should be doing. Just a positive, another game. Just get out there and enjoy your cricket, exactly like they've been doing so far.
Okay, so I am out of questions now. That means it's time to wrap this up. We've been on for a while. We sort of ended the show yesterday saying we're hoping for a contest. Sadly, we didn't get a contest, but we got to see a lot of good cricket, some excellent batting by the South Africans. Quinton de Kock, Rassie van der Dusen, David Miller as well, the destroyer. Hendrik Klaasen got a couple of big hits as well. And then we saw the mighty bowling of the Proteas. I may not be doing justice to Marco Jansen if I don't get in a word from you on him. He's been expensive at the start of the tournament, but getting wickets, getting up there.
What did he get today? What did he get today?
3 today.
Well, he really mucked up his consistent returns. He was getting 2 wickets. He hasn't missed 2 wickets as an innings except today.
He got 3. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
One more. Now let's make it 3, 3, 3, 3. Or 4.
It's my sense of humour.
But it's also the height. That height and the pace.
and the ability to swing, bounce and swing. You know, he's been getting breakthroughs. He's been a wonderful, wonderful player and a youngster.
Yes.
You know, with a huge future in front of him. So, you know, if you want to make it tough for yourself, give him the ball under the light. You know, that's going to be a real challenge.
Yeah, but we're thinking we want South Africa to chase. Let's see if we can do it in a hot afternoon.
I said, if you want to make it hard for yourself, give him the ball under lights.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. The South Africans don't want to perhaps bat second. But I think the South Africa question will push it till Sunday or Saturday when we look ahead to the India-South Africa game. As things stand, that's going to be a top-of-the-table clash. Nothing is going to change now. Nothing's going to change over the next 4 days. On Sunday, it will be a top-of-the-table clash. South Africa currently first, India second. That is probably going to change on Thursday when India play Sri Lanka. But if you are hoping for some excitement heading into the last few days of this group stage, then find yourself a spot in the stadium or find yourself a spot in front of your TVs on the 4th, that is Saturday, because it's Pakistan versus New Zealand. Pakistan win that, they level on points with the Kiwis, and there's one spot open in the race to the semis. I'm really waiting forward to see how that pans out. For the moment, Dav Whatmore and I will sign off. It's been an interesting game, and what comes after this is going to be much more interesting. Remember, the game tomorrow is India versus Sri Lanka. We will be building up to that game. Dav Whatmore and my colleague Isha Hanspal, 1:30 p.m. India. See you there.